Greetings, fellow travelers. Oblyx here, coming at you today from Project Ozone Lite.
Shut up and sit down.
How y'all doing today? So, I am excited today because last time we built that bad boy right behind me, our AE2 system. Now I've moved it over here to the purple dome where it's gonna live the rest of its life, though not in this configuration. This is just the quick and dirty get it up and get it over here kind of setup, but it'll serve us well for what we want to do. Today I want to expand upon this and get some auto crafting online. So first thing we're going to need to do is get a crafting unit, well, a crafting monitor. I want to go ahead and do a coprocessor. We're going to need some of these crafting storage, and we're going to need a molecular assembler, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. A whole bunch of stuff. Some interfaces as well we're going to need down here. So let's get on with this. To start with, I think I want to go ahead and build some of these crafting storage units because they take a little bit of time, because each one of these requires one of these components. The same things we used, get out of there. Same things we used to make these disk drives. We used the 64K components that we had opened in loot crates to make those drives. So we're going to go ahead and make some more. And once we get our auto crafting online, we can use the auto crafter to make even more beyond that. So let's start with these. I want to make some of the probably the 16K units. So to make a 16K, we're going to need 3 of the 4Ks. To make the 4Ks, we need 3 of the 1Ks. So that means we're up to 9 1Ks already. So, and the 1Ks aren't that bad. So let's see what we can come up with here, huh? We're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. I'm wondering if I should just go straight to a 64. I think I'm going to have the material. So 64 is 3 of the 16s. And then maybe I don't have the material after all. So I need some Certus quartz and some redstonery. Luckily, we still got our little tablet here from Ender.io, which has all the goodies. Dadgummit. Dad double gummit. Still got all the little goodies inside of it. So we'll just move some of them over here. Nice. So that should be enough to get us where we want to be. And nice. Now we want to make the 4Ks. Ooh, but we're gonna need quartz glasery. How much can that we make of this? About that much. Excellent. Alright, so we can make 4. I'm sorry, where did I come up with 4? We can make 9 of the 4K components. Now we go up to the 16K components. And we're going to need glowstone. So the reason I keep hitting E is because most everything you can exit with E except this thing. When you hit E, it just types in the search box up there. You have to hit escape, and that drives me up the wall. Every other unit like this one here, you just hit E and it escapes out of the unit. ME just has to be goofy and do it different than everybody else. Very annoying. You get used to it, but it's an uphill battle for those of us who've done it the other way for so long. You get that muscle memory. So let's get these. Wait. What am I doing? I already have the 4Ks. So we want 16Ks. Make as many of those as we can, which is 3. Which is going to allow us a 64K. Outstanding. So pop that in. We're going to need a crafting unit, which we should have all the bits and parts for. So pop that in here. And there we go. 164K crafting storage. Nice. Now this isn't going to do anything by itself. It's by itself sad and lonely. It needs friends. So we're going to give it some friends. We've got a crafting unit and a co-crafting unit. Another crafting unit. And, oops, we need to make a monitor here, or one of these, what is this, illuminated panel? Now we got to make an emitter. And I didn't bring any torches over, so I need to grab some torches. I know I have some in here. Yep, there's some. Alright, there's our redstone torches. So we can make this emitter. Pop that in there. We need to make this rabbit hole of panels. Good night. It is not going to let me do that yet, because it wants me to walk down the rabbit hole of nonsense. There we go. There we go. Now let's pop these on here. That's not getting happy. Actually, let me grab a little bit of a cable. Ah, dang it. Hit the right key. So I put 9 degrees of separation there. So those two get happy. Yeah, now they're getting happy. They just didn't want to be all touchy-touchy. Nice. So you can tell, see how the blocks changed their appearance when I laid them down? A good example is this guy. Now, see, I took him away. They all changed their appearance back. This is in their like dormant state. Think of it like that. If you place them down and they don't flip to that pattern, they're not usable. So that means you've built an invalid machine. So when you connect them in a valid format, you're going to get, you know, the active state, you know, or the block is going to appear in its active state. So you need one of these crafting storages, you need a crafting unit, and you need a monitor. Other than that, you don't need this co-processing. I like to have at least one because that lets it use two of these chambers here, which you'll see in a minute, and it'll make more sense once we build some more stuff. And you can have a whole bunch of these guys of any size you want. The more you have, the bigger jobs it can craft at one time. So, yeah, that's a thing. But this will get us going to start with. Now, this is just the brains of the crafting. It can't actually do the work. It can just think about the work. And it's kind of a good way to think about it. It's totally different than refined storage. So you have to treat it different than refined storage. So now I'm going to build a couple of these molecular assemblers. Oops, let's get some crafting tables. I think I've got some already in here. Of course, it's possible I don't. Let's see, some plankage. And let's just grab 8 of those. And put 1 in there and 1 in there. And we get 1. Oops, we're out of formation cores and annihilation cores. So we need... No! What am I out of? Oh, quartz? Really? Really? I don't know which of the quartz it was looking for. I'm going to put a whole bunch of all of it in there so it can just chill out. There we go. Let's get 1 more of those. And we're going to need interfaces. And of course, I'm out of glass. There, we'll make it multicolored. Interfaces. 1 interface. Need more of these. More of those. And 1 more of those. Nice. And give me tube. Always with hitting the E. Pop that there. Pop that there. That there. Ooh, set that there. And when you get the little snazzy colors, you built it right. So you need at least 1 interface and at least 1 molecular assembler. They don't have to be built in this way. But what this does is it allows, technically I don't even need that, because I have this coprocessor. It allows this interface, or this unit, to use 2 of these molecular assemblers. The more coprocessors you have, the more molecular assemblers you can use. So that just means that this unit, when told to do some work, can actually do 2 things at once. So now we need things that I don't remember the name of. Pattern something or other? Where are you? Pattern terminal. So we need a crafting terminal, which is, you know, crafting rabbit hole. Oh, wait, maybe not. Oh. I thought because it had the plus I might be okay, but I'm not. Hey, I can at least make it there. Okay, fair enough. Here's our crafting terminal. And there's our pattern terminal. And let's get 1 more cable. And we're going to go right there. And right there. Nice. See, we get a little bit of a different interface. Now we need to make some patterns to go in there. So we're going to come back down here and we're going to find our patterns. Now they should be up here somewhere. I'm going to have to get unlazy and type. No, I'm not. There we go. Now I want to make a whole bunch of those. Because this is what's going... I seriously just put it back in there. These are what's going to allow us to do the work. We're going to put those patterns in this interface, which is going to teach this machine how to make things. And if we run out of room in that interface, we fill it up because it's only got this. We can only hold this many patterns. We can pop another interface down, which is why we made 2. So we can just pop this guy right here. So he, because we're building it in this pattern, he can now use 2 of these assemblers as well. And then he has this many patterns he can work with. So let's see, what do I want to auto craft first? All right, we're going to need to make a whole bunch of these. It would go in this slot right here. These acceleration cards is the first thing I want to craft because we're going to end up making a whole bunch more circuits. So we got to teach this machine how to make acceleration cards. So we're going to click on this top one, this pattern terminal. We're going to click on the acceleration card. And we're just going to say plus. Now you notice we're missing a piece. Now there's 2 modes. Let me show you these modes before we go any further. There's this mode here, which is craftable in a crafting. If it's crafted in a... If I could words, that would be fantastic. If you can craft this in a crafting table, then you want it in this mode. If you click this crafting table, you flip to the processing mode. This would be as if you could craft the recipe in a machine. So for example, an example of a crafting table pattern would be like 4 glowstone dust, make 1 glowstone. Okay? The recipes have to be exact. If for whatever reason they're not exact, the machine's going to have problems. Now, this mode would be the equivalent of saying, if I don't want 32. If I take a skystone, let's not use skystone. Let's do something different. If we take something that everybody knows. If we take an iron ore. Okay, if I click on the right one, we're in processing mode. If I take an iron ore and I put it in a smelter, I get an iron ingot out. Okay, so this would teach the machine, put an iron ore in, you get an ingot out. So it would put one of these in, it would expect one of these out. Now we could use this with our ore quintupler, right, where we put 1 iron in and we would get 5 ingots out. But we would need to do this. We would need to show the machine that if you put 1 ore in, you get 5 out. So it would expect 5 on return, and it would sit there and wait until it got 5. So you have to be very specific with these recipes. If you're using something like a sag mill and you're not sure what you're going to get out of it, you know, if you say put in 1 sand and you can get between 1 and 3 silicon, if you put 3 silicon, it's going to sit there and wait for 3 silicon. So even if you only get 1, it's still going to sit there and wait. It's never going to finish because it never got the result it expected. So if you just put 1 silicon as the output, even though you might get 3, the machine will be happy. It'll say, oh, okay, I got 1, I'm good to go. And it'll move on to the next task. Okay, it's a kind of a catchy thing. It'll make more sense as we get further along, but it is something to pay attention to. But we're going to start with crafting patterns. Okay, we're going to work on these acceleration cards. So we don't have any of these, so I need to get one of these. So to make one of these is just this. And I'm out of something. What the heck am I out of? Out of diamonds. Okay, let's get some diamonds. Whatever you're using to craft with needs to exist in the system, or it will tell you, hey, I don't have enough of this. So there we go. Now it's got diamonds. So now we can make this. You do have to have made at least one of them. Now notice, one pattern gets you 2 of the cards, right? That's important. So I'm going to pop those into the system, and I'm going to go up here to the other grid. Let me get off of my tablet so it's not confusing anyone. Clear that out. I'm going to go acceleration card, and I'm going to click on this advanced card because this is what we want to make. One pattern, 2 cards come out. Now I'm going to hit this down arrow with some blank patterns in here, and it's going to encode one of those blank patterns with what it takes to make those advanced cards. So if I mouse over it, I can see that 2 advanced cards is made with 1 calculation processor. And I'm reading, see this little section that's moving right there that has all the words? That's what I'm reading. So, and 2 diamonds, 3 iron, and 1 redstone. And that will get you 1 of these guys. Now, that's only part of the recipe. Okay, that's this part. It doesn't teach it how to combine that with Fluix, does it? So we have to teach it that. So if we say 1 advanced card with a Fluix crystal makes 1 acceleration card, and then we encode that pattern. Now we've taught it how to make the advanced pattern, or the advanced cards, and we've taught it how to make the acceleration card. So now we want to put it into these crafters. Now I recommend when you have similar things to split them up. Now I would actually like to split them up so they're not using the same assembler, because that's going to tie up the assemblers, but because our setup is a little bit limited here, we're going to have to do that. So now if I click here, it's going to show our crafting status. These are all the crafting jobs we have going on. You can see we don't have any right now, but that's how you review what's happening in your system. Now over here, because I already have some acceleration cards in the system, you can see how it hid the craft. See how now it says the word craft? That means I don't have any cards in there, but it does know how to make them. If I put these in, they'll cover up the word craft. If you want to craft anyway, center mouse click will get you into the crafting menu, even if you already have some of those items. So see how I have the items here? I'm just going to center click, and then it takes me into the crafting menu. Same as it would if you only, like if I take these 2 out and I just click here, with a regular click you can get in. So if you don't have any, you can regular click. If you already have some but you want to make more, just center mouse click. Now here you tell it how many do you want. How many do you want to make? And let's take a look how many we need. This guy's already full. This guy is partially full. We'll add those 2 in there. So I need 3. He's full. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I need 13 to fill these guys up. So let's craft plus 10. Then we're going to add 1, 1, and 1 until we're up to 13. Then I'm going to say next. And you can see here what you're crafting. And it's going to say if I have the materials or not. So I have enough diamonds, I have enough iron, I have enough redstone. Anything not available, it will say unavailable, or how much you do have and how much you need, and it'll be a different color. Here's where you choose which CPU to do the crafting. These are your CPUs. So we only have one, so it can only pick from one, so that's not going to be an issue for us. But if we had multiple, you could choose which one you wanted it to use. Now I'm just going to say start, and it's going to start the job. And you see here in these molecular assemblers, if this obnoxious Enderman would get out of the way, you know, the items were showing up in there as they were being crafted. Now, if I look in here, I've got 13 brand new acceleration cards. So the system created those for us. We didn't have to do it ourselves. Isn't that nice? It makes life easy. You spend the time up front to build your patterns, and from that point on, the system knows how to do everything. It doesn't need any extra input from you. It's like, okay, I got this, not a problem. Come back in a minute and I'll be done. So that's how to craft items that could be crafted in a crafting table. Let's take a quick look at how to craft things that require a machine, some outside machine in order to work. So for that, I'm going to need to build another interface. The interfaces allow you to connect machines to the AE system. They allow you to insert items from the AE system into a machine. So I'm going to take this interface, and we're going to start with this machine right here. And this is a machine, a crystal growth chamber. Remember, this is what we use to grow those seeds, the pure quartz or the pure Fluix crystals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plop that interface down right behind it. Remember, if these machines are touching, they're good to go. But this same pattern will also, or the same setup will also work for non-AE machines. You could use it with Mechanism or Ender IO or Thermodynamics. All those other machines will work as well. So it's just a machine crafting recipe instead of a crafting table crafting recipe. So now we need to teach the machine, teach the AE system how to use the machine. So first and foremost, we have to teach it how to make pure Certus quartz. It doesn't know. So this is not something you could normally do. Right? There's no machine that does this without this extra mod that we have in here called AE2 stuff that allows us a machine to do that. So we need to make the seed. To make the Certus quartz seed, remember, is sand and Certus quartz dust. So do we have Certus quartz dust in here? I don't see any. So let's grab some. Okay, and let's grab some sand as well, because we're going to need that also. We're just going to pile all that into our system here. Now we can teach the machine. I'll get off that panel again so it doesn't confuse anyone. We want to teach the machine that using a crafting table, we could make these by putting sand and quartz dust in a grid. We'll get 2 seeds. So there's our recipe. We're going to pull that out. Now, because this is a crafting grid or crafting table recipe, we want to come over here to this device and pop it in. Okay, we've now taught the machine how to make seeds. Right? But now we want to teach it how to make the full-blown pure Certus quartz. This guy right here. So do I have any? I do not. So first thing I'm going to have to do is get one. So I'm going to tell it to craft a seed. Now I told it 1. See, let's go back. I'm going to tell it to craft a seed. I'm just going to leave it at 1. But because our recipe makes 2, remember 1 sand, 1 dust gives you 2 seeds, it's still going to give me 2. It can't cut it in half. So I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to pop them in our machine. And they're growing. Now remember, you have to have at least 1 item in order to teach the machine how to auto craft. Now I can put 3 acceleration cards in there, so let's go ahead and craft 3 more acceleration cards while we wait. And see them popping in over here. Fantastic, already done. Didn't take but a second. And we're going to pop these in here like so. And you'll see this goes much quicker. So there's our 2 seeds. Our 2 pure quartz. So what I want to teach the machine is, go up to our terminal. We got to go to machine mode. I want to teach it, well, let me get 1 more seed. I do need 1 for the recipe. I want to teach it that 1 seed into that machine will get you 1 pure crystal out of that machine. Okay, 1 seed in at 0% will get you 1 pure crystal out. And we're going to encode that pattern, just like so. Now we're not going to take it over here because it can't be crafted in a crafting table. We're going to put it in that terminal back here. This guy, which tells it that it can work with that machine there. So if I pull these 2 out, notice we now have a craft. And I'm going to pull these out as well. So what's going to happen when I say craft this guy? It's going to craft these, then this. So let's see that happen. Craft. We have all the material we need. We say start. It's doing this. Now you see the chamber's already working. And as soon as it grows, it'll actually be done. But there's no way for this machine to pull that item back into itself yet. This interface can push items in, but it can't take items out. So we have to teach it how to do that. So we need to make another device. And let's see if I can find it, because as always I can't remember the name. Import bus. So there's an export bus somewhere in here. There it is. This pushes items out. Then there's an import bus which pulls items in. So we want to make one of these import buses. And of course it needs a sticky piston. Let's see if we have any of those. We do not. So let's make one real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. Import bus. There we go. And we're going to need a couple cables. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out underneath this guy for right now, so we can put this in. And I want to pop the import bus on the machine itself. And then I want to cable back to any other machine. It doesn't have to be the importer. Okay, it could be any other cable or machine in the line. And now there is a limit on the channels. We'll get into channels later because they're very confusing to a lot of people. Now what that did was allow it to pull that crystal out and complete our crafting recipe. So we now have our pure Certus quartz in here. I'm going to go ahead and make a couple more. Let's make 10. Do we have enough stuff? Yeah, it says I've got one. I'm going to craft 10. Technically we only need 9, but remember they're in 2s. So I'm going to say start. Now you see up here in the crafting monitor it's showing. If I click it, it's saying, okay, I've stored 1, I'm crafting 10, now I'm crafting 9, now I'm down to 7. You see about how much longer it's going to take. And you see the machine, of course, working. And there it goes, sucking the items out. And there's our 11 pure Certus quartz. Fantastic. So we've taught this machine how to craft things in a crafting table. We've taught it how to use other machines to craft and import. Now we can kind of speed up the process a little bit. If we take this import bus, we can add acceleration cards to it there. So if I just come here and go give me 4 more acceleration cards, I have all the materials needed. Say go. There they are. Happens pretty quick. Pop those in. Now we'll stick the seeds in super fast. If I pop those seeds in, let them grow, and boom, they're both gone real quick. Fantastic. Let me just clear some inventory. So, and like I said, this does work with machines outside of AE2. If we want to use, you know, any of the other machines, the smelters or the, you know, thermodynamic machines, any of those it will work with. Like if I were to take some ore and let's see. I've got an elite smelting factory right here, and under here if I use the right tool, under here, there we go, is our power cord. So if I said let's put our, actually, let's just do this. Put our smelter there. And let's get a stabilized flux duct. Right there is power the machine, which is completely and totally full of stuff. Let's take all that out. Free up my inventory a little bit. Come over here and tell it to build another interface. All right, we have a formation. We're short an annihilation. So there we go, another interface. And we want another import bus, which means we're going to need another sticky piston here. There we go. Import bus, please. All right. Want to pop the interface there. And we do have to cable the interface, so I need some of these guys. And I'm just going to run it. I'm going to pop that import bus there, and I'm going to cable it just like so. Again, the cables can come or go anywhere. So now I have to tell this machine what's happening. So I'm going to have to say, okay, from the back, I want you to input. And I want you to output on the side and auto eject, please. And yeah, power from the bottom. There we go. So that should make it happy. Now we need to build a pattern, right? So let's get some copper. And if I build a pattern that says 1 copper ore equals 1 copper ingot, We are in machine mode. We're going to teach it that rule. And we're going to pop that in there. If you ever want to know what these patterns are because they all look alike, just hold shift and it actually can show you. You don't have to mouse over it and read each one. Shift's just a quick way to see. So we've taught it how now to make copper ingots. So if we put these ore in there, we put 32 in. And I'm going to get rid of the ore that's in my inventory in our old system, just to get it out of the way. So there's no shenanigans. I want to say I want to craft 10, 20, 30, 1, 2 of those. And go. And why is it not going? Did I not put this? There we go. I had the wrong input. Now you see it put all 32 in there. It is crafting into copper ingots. It is pulling those copper ingots out and putting them into the system. But notice it still says 32. Now here is a hitch in the giddy up. We told it that one ore would equal one of these copper ingots. But what we got out was these copper ingots, a different kind of copper ingot. So the system, this whole crafter is now tied up. It can't do any more work because it hasn't got what it's looking for. It's waiting to get what it wants. So I either have to come in and manually cancel it or give it what it's waiting for. So if I come into my old system and I pull out 32 of the old copper ingots and just drop them in the system like so, see, now it thinks, oh, okay, I got what I was looking for. I'm good to go. So what we would have to do if we wanted to use this setup here is change this pattern. We'd have to bring it up here. And if you put a pattern in a crafting grid, it clears it. So it's a blank pattern now. And we would want to say, okay, one ore as such equals one of these copper ingots. Now, if we encode that and drop it in there and grab our 32 copper ore, drop them into the system here. Now I'm going to pull out this 32 so we don't get confused. Right? And I'm going to take both of these and drop them into our old system so they're nowhere near the new system. So all we have is ore. I'm going to say craft 10, 20, 30, 1, 2. Go. And start. So we see it up here. Now we see it counting down. As this machine processes and feeds them back into the system, it's counting these guys down. You should also be able to see that from here. Remember that little thing? It shows a CPU 0, which is the only one we have. That guy right there is this far along in its work. So if I have a whole bunch of CPUs that are in a different location, we can see what all of them are doing. So we know who's doing what, when, where, and why. So that's pretty cool. So we've seen how to take our AE2 system, build crafting, auto crafting with both crafting grids and machines. And we know we can use machines outside of AE2. So that's pretty darn cool. And we will most definitely be expanding upon this as we grow out this giant purple dome. And this becomes our storage room, or in our AE2 room. So we're going to have all of our crafters in here, all of these guys in here. They may be under the floor. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how that goes. We're going to have a bunch more controllers in here because there's a thing called channels, and each controller can only do a certain number of channels. But we'll get into that at another time because that's a really confusing conversation for a lot of people. So I want to actually show you how it's done while I'm actually doing it, so you have something to look at. But I think that, I'm afraid, is all the time I got for today. As always, I sure do appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me. And until next time, get out there and make some noise. See ya!